So in this example, we're going to go through a specific E1 reaction. So E1 elimination unimolecular, so just one species will be involved in the rate determining step. And we're going to see how that can give access to different isomers of the alkene and why one of them will predominate. So again, this is in your slides. Just to recap, you should be able to assign alkene stereochemistry using the E and the Z nomenclature. So you'll have done that earlier on in the course. We've got the different alkenes here, and you can see hopefully by looking at them they've got different shapes. So this one here, we've got this phenyl and the methyl group on the same side of the double bond. Here it's on opposite sides. So again, just to reiterate why we're worried about this in this course, it's because if we were looking to make a drug that had a double bond and it had to have a particular isomer, because different isomers have different biological and therapeutic properties, it would be important that we know which one we're making out of the E and the Z and whether we can control that. So let's think about the mechanism. We've got this molecule here and we're told that an E1 reaction is occurring under acidic conditions to give different alkene products. So E1, we know it's elimination unimolecular, we're going to lose a leaving group. So you might remember from the SN1 reaction that we looked at, we had an example before where we had a hydroxy, which is a possible leaving group, but it's quite a poor leaving group. But in the presence of acid, it becomes a better leaving group. So we can see here, electron rich can pick up the proton. That would convert this neutral OH into positively charged HOH plus. And that then becomes a better leaving group because it's positively charged. The bond will then be more polarized. So all we're doing in this first step with acid is converting this into a good leaving group. That will depart in our rate determining step, and only the substrate is involved in the reaction. The base isn't involved at this point. So we'll break that off. That will give us this carbon here. It's the same as this carbon here. Positively charged because it's lost its bond, so that gives us our carbocation. So this is our carbocation is formed in the rate determining step of the E1 reaction. So what we're then doing is in the second step we are losing a hydrogen with the base coming in to lose the hydrogen to give the double bond. So it doesn't matter which of these it takes off. We know in the second step our base will come in and it will lose the hydrogen, push the electrons in to make a new bond there, giving us a double bond. So that's great. That's the essentials of the E1 reaction mechanism. Lose our leaving group in the rate determining step, base pull off the hydrogen to give the double bond. But there's something else we need to consider here, and that is that carbocations have a finite lifetime. So these carbocations, they exist in real time, and because they exist in real time, what we can get is rotation around this bond in the carbocation. So at the moment we've got the phenyl opposite to the methyl, but because we're getting rotation all the time around this bond, there will also be another orientation where the phenyl is on the same side as the methyl. And again, let's just sort of try and show that that's rotating around there to go back to here, rotate around there to go back to there. So if that's the case, we could get loss of a hydrogen from this species, leaving the phenyl and the methyl on opposite sides. But if when our base came in, when the base came in, it was actually the orientation where the methyl is on the same side as the phenyl, then you would end up with the phenyl and methyl on the same side in the alkene. So what I'm essentially trying to show here is when we do the E1 reaction, we do lose the leaving group to give a carbocation, but this carbocation can exist in different orientations because of rotation around this carbon-carbon single bond. So if the phenyl and the methyl are on the same side at the point when the base takes off the hydrogen, then if the phenyl and the methyl are on opposite sides, when the base pulls off the hydrogen, they'll be on opposite sides here in the product. If instead the base pulled off the hydrogen at the point in time where the phenyl and methyl are on the same side, then again the phenyl and the methyl would end up on the same side of the alkene in the product. So as we saw for SM1, SM1 gives a mixture of isomers. The same is true for E1. What we're going to get is a mixture of isomers. So that's the important stereochemical outcome, is that for E1 we get a mixture of isomers. If we were to look at the relative stability of these, what you find is this one would be more stable because the bulky groups are on opposite sides, so you're getting less interactions of electrons here with electrons here, compared to this one here where they're on the same side, so electrons here could clash with the electrons here. So you do tend to get more of this than this. However, you will always get mixtures of the two. So it says here, it's generally true that E1 reactions for predominantly the E alkene. So as I said before, make sure you can assign E and Z to alkenes. That's because this is of lower energy, the transition state leading up to it is of lower energy. However, you will always get some of the opposite isomer just as a consequence of the reaction mechanism.